hey, we might as well take this time to get in the best shape of our lives. Okay, we don't have variables coming at us for a change. Okay, we can stick to a plan and we can have fun with it. So I invite you to join me on this plan. Okay, it's going to be a diet plan that also has an intermittent fasting strategy along with it if you're interested. So you have to watch through the entire video because I'll go through the breakfast, the lunches, the dinners for those that don't want to fast. And then towards the end, I'll talk about the strategy for fasting. Okay, this is the one time where we don't have like family obligations. We don't have school functions. We don't have work functions. A lot of things are shut down. So we don't have the excuses to fall off the plan. So why don't I just lay something out for all of us to follow? And this is all based on things that I know we can get our hands on right now, things that are available online, things that we have in our pantry. These is based off a lot of the stuff that I just had stocked up in my pantry. We can use this time to get in amazing shape. So I took the liberty of writing everything down, and we're gonna go through it step by step, and you're gonna have a solid idea of how to make this a positive situation and get in the best dang shape of your life. But first, make sure you hit that red subscribe button and please hit that bell icon if you're new to this channel so you never miss our daily videos. Let's jump in. All right, we're gonna start right out the gate with breakfast. And I'm also gonna talk a little bit supplementation on this, but I don't wanna go into exquisite detail because I have other videos on that. The most important thing that I laid out here, I want you to try to have apple cider vinegar after each meal whenever possible. Why is that right now? Because right now, more than ever, I wanna make sure that your gut biome is healthy. Okay, so much of the immune system starts in the gut, and if we can take care of that, we can put ourselves in a much better, more advantageous position. But additionally, apple cider vinegar is going to help control that blood sugar. What I don't want to have happen is while you're quarantined or while you're locked down, you're having blood sugar rises and falls that are making you want to crave things. So anyhow, 1 to 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar after each meal if possible, or at least after lunch, okay? So breakfast, option number 1. Okay, and I'm going to get specific footage of this for you guys to see. Coffee or tea, and you're essentially going to make a fat coffee or some variation of a keto coffee, and I'll explain why. I want 1 tablespoon of ghee and 1 tablespoon of coconut oil added to your coffee or your tea, and then 1 scoop of collagen either added into your coffee or 1 scoop of your protein of choice on the side with some almond milk. Okay, the reason that I am focusing on the ghee and the coconut oil more than anything is, again, it comes back to the gut biome. We want to support that right now. The ghee is a short chain fatty acid that is going to take care of your gut lining so that you do not have lipopolysaccharides leaking into your bloodstream, compromising your immune system. So much of our immune system is compromised simply because of toxins that leak through. Let's at least mitigate that potential risk, okay? And then of course we want to keep protein as high as we possibly can right now too, simply because it's satiating, but it also has a thermogenic effect. Okay, option number 2, chia pudding. And again, this all depends on what you have on hand, right? I know personally, I have a lot of chia seeds hanging around in my pantry. 2 to 3 tablespoons of chia. Now, one of the big focuses here is getting the right omega-3s during this time. We want to control inflammation. We don't want to be inflamed and have our immune system compromised fighting something that ultimately doesn't exist in our bodies, right? So right now, we take in that chia to get those omega-3s. And I'll talk about how we can get better absorption of those in 1 second. So 2 to 3 tablespoons of chia, 4 tablespoons of coconut cream in a can. Okay, coconut cream is a very high calorie, nutrient dense food. You can get it out of a can, and coconut cream or coconut milk in a canned form. And I want 4 tablespoons. And what you're going to do is you're going to mix that with 3/4 to 1 cup of almond milk or coconut milk. Preferred coconut milk if you're in a non-refrigerated form. Okay. And then I want 1 scoop of protein powder added to that. I don't care at this point, just whatever you have. Whey protein isolate would be ideal. Pea protein would be great. And then the trick is 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. It's not going to change the taste much, but studies have now shown that turmeric enhances the conversion of the alpha-linolenic acid in the omega-3s in the chia. It enhances the conversion of them into a usable form called DHA and EPA. We want this right now. The regular omegas from chia aren't going to do a whole lot without the turmeric, and trust me, it's not going to change the taste much. Option 3, this is for people that do have access to some meat right now. Okay, I know it's a little bit tough. Down in Southern California where I'm at, shelves are wiped out, okay? Up in Monterey, where I was spending some time, there was plenty on the shelves. It all depends on where you are. 3 to 5 ounces of ground beef or ground turkey. Try to go as lean as possible, but beggars can't be choosers. 1 tablespoon of coconut oil added to the meat after it's been cooked. Okay, the coconut oil here, we are getting the ghee, or excuse me, we're getting the lauric acid in there. we're getting some of the short chain fatty acids just from the meat itself. Half a cup strained green beans or spinach. Okay, I say that because you can get these in a can. And again, here we're getting some fiber. Here, with option 2, we're getting fiber. Option 1, we're getting more ghee in there. So option 3, I want to get what's called butyric acid and butyrate in through a different source. So I recommend strained green beans or spinach. And then I also said, if you can get your hands on smoked salmon as an alternative, then that would be a great alternative to the ground beef, just like 2 ounces of smoked salmon. That way you're getting some good omega-3s in. But I will say, at the grocery stores that I've been to, smoked salmon is on the shelf. People haven't touched that stuff. It doesn't have the most amazing shelf life, but it's longer shelf life than like ground beef would be right now. Okay, so breakfast in a nutshell. I'll talk about supplementation in a minute. I want you to take your supplements with lunch in this case. So we're going to talk about those after lunch. Okay, lunch. One of the most important things I want you to stress during this time is between breakfast and between lunch, please do not snack. Please do not eat anything simply because I want that glucagon level to go up. This is your time to capitalize on this situation and burn some fat. You don't need to just resort to being lazy right now. You can do this. Option 1, 2 chomp sticks. Okay, I say that because if you watch my channel, I'm always talking about chomps, and I have a pantry full of them because I load up on them. So I'll talk about that in a second. So 2 chomp sticks, which is going to be grass-fed, grass-finished meat sticks that have a really long shelf life. A half a cup to 1 cup of frozen broccoli. We're doing this because broccoli is one of the highest vitamin C content in the way of veggies. Very, very good. We'll talk about that in a minute too. Broth, I don't even care what broth. Bone broth would be preferred, but I understand it's expensive and not everyone can get that. Broth with 1 tablespoon of ghee melted into it. You're making a soup here, okay? So you can take those chopsticks, chop them up, and actually put them in the broth and actually have almost like a chicken soup kind of thing or a beef soup. It's actually really dang good. And then 1 ounce of macadamia nuts. Everything that I'm talking about here is going to be things, with the exception of some of the beef and the salmon and stuff like that, you can get online through sources that I know for a fact have inventory. Okay, these are sources that have inventory because I checked them out. Okay, macadamia nuts, Royal Hawaiian has a bunch. Kettle and Fire has bone broth. Frozen broccoli, I've seen it in the stores. I know you can get this stuff, but I understand you may not want to leave the house right now. Chomps, I checked with the owners of Chomps and they do have a lot of Chomps in stock. And because of the situation, I've gone ahead and I put a link down below with a code that says Thomas25 for anyone to get 25% off Chomps because they're trying to give back right now as much as they can because they have a lot of inventory. They're doing good on supply chain. And honestly, it's a good, healthy source to be able to have in your house right now. So I highly recommend, if you can't get good meat right now, that you jump on that pricing with Chomps because it's going to be much better than the grocery store. They've also helped support me doing this video, which has been very, very helpful because this is a stressful time for people that are in this world as YouTubers too, because a lot of our world gets jumbled. So if it wasn't for Chomps, I probably couldn't even do this video. So big thank you. Okay, now let's move into option 2. We have 1 can of chunk light tuna. I want chunk light tuna because albacore is going to be too high in mercury, especially if we cannot detox properly right now. We cannot get the veggies that we need to actually help us mitigate and chelate some of the excess minerals and chelate some of the excess toxins like mercury and heavy metals. Chunk light is lower mercury level, but this is a temporary thing. So even if you're not a big fan of tuna, this will just be temporary. Then I put 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Why do I say that? Because I went to the grocery store and I did a video on this and people wiped out all the things that were super low calorie, just empty calories, and they left the calorically dense things. I saw so much mayonnaise on the shelf, and I'm thinking that is a food that people should be getting right now. It's shelf stable until it's open. And then, I don't know, anyhow, so 2 tablespoons, but try to go for like an avocado mayonnaise, like Primal Kitchen or one of those, or Sir Kensington's. And then a half cup to 1 cup of frozen broccoli again, and then 1 ounce of macadamia nuts. Resist the urge to go with a bunch of almonds. They're cheap, they're easy. Resist the urge to go with a bunch of peanuts and peanut butter. Okay, I want the macadamia nuts, higher quality omega-7, okay, which is a very good fat called palmitoleic acid, but additionally, very powerful when it comes down to the omega-3, omega-6 ratio. So that's something we want. Option 3, 1 can of sardines in either water. In this case, I'd be okay with it in olive oil because I understand the circumstance. Do not get sardines that are in cottonseed oil or soybean oil. I would rather you skip this meal than settle for that. Okay, 1 to 1.5 ounces of macadamia nuts. A few more macadamia nuts in this case, and I'll explain why. Then 10 to 15 chlorella tabs or spirulina. Again, You can mix and match some of these things, just FYI. Okay, I just didn't want to give people just one boilerplate plan. I want to give them something they could follow, right? Okay, so in this case, chlorella tablets are going to help chelate some of the excess heavy metals that you might be consuming from the canned foods right now. I don't even, basically what it does is it helps your body, helps your liver out, it helps your intestinal tract remove some of these things. Okay, so the reason that I have more macadamia nuts in here is simply because we don't have a whole lot of fat with this meal, and I wanted to bump it up. A lot of what we're doing is trying to focus on getting a lot more vitamin D in. Vitamin D is imperative for immune function. Vitamin C and vitamin D work harmoniously together. Without vitamin D, vitamin C cannot really do its job. And without vitamin C, vitamin D can't do its job, which is actually allow the immune system to activate. Okay, so very, 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 very important. And then with each meal, with each lunch option, whatever you choose, 200 to 300 milligrams of a good quality magnesium. Magnesium gets depleted when we're converting vitamin D. So if we're consuming vitamin D and we have to actively convert it into its usable D3 form, that means that we need magnesium because we're getting depleted in it. So magnesium is probably the root of everything that we need with our immune system. And I did say option 4 because some people do have access to some takeout options right now. Takeout lettuce wrap burger. Not the best, but everyone needs to live a little bit. This is going to be your opportunity to do that if you wanted to do a takeout, kind of a lettuce wrap burger. Obviously, these options would be, whoops, bumped that. These options would be cleaner. I'm filming this on my phone, no crew. I am gonna send it over to my editors that are working at home, but anyhow. Now let's move into dinner. Again, with lunch and dinner, that gap in between, I don't want any snacking. Keep it controlled. Get some workouts in. Get active. Do something. Get outside because the vitamin D is going to be so imperative, again, for the immune function. Okay, so option 1 with dinner. No matter what option you choose, I want a quarter cup of either sauerkraut or kimchi. And if you absolutely cannot do that, try to get some fresh cabbage. Okay? We're not in an emergency situation yet. I don't know what's going to happen with supply chain and all this stuff, but I do see produce on the shelves. People aren't wiping out produce much, but sauerkraut and kimchi is shelf stable, heavy, heavy probiotic. Again, we have to take care of the gut right now. It is so imperative, especially when our lifestyle's changing dramatically like this. 3 to 5 ounces of meat, preferably red meat, so we get the heme iron that we actually need right now. We don't want we don't want just the storage or non-storage form of iron. We want the heme iron that can actually do its job. Calorie-wise, Parmesan cheese is going to last the longest in an unrefrigerated form. It's also going to be the safest dairy that you could have. So I would say go ahead and go for a half to 1 ounce of Parmesan cheese on there. 1 cup of frozen veggies of your choice, as long as they're not super starchy. 2 tablespoons of almond butter, just to get you some extra calories there. And then 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia or flaxseed mixed into the almond butter. Why? Again, the omega-3s, I'm doing what I can here. The last thing I want is to have your omega-3, omega-6 ratio get off, your inflammation levels go sky high, and then you're running into just a health concern anyway. Option number 2, we're back to chomp sticks again. Again, these are in my pantry, so I'm just talking about them a lot. Cut those suckers up, and if greens are available, use them in lieu of bacon bits on your salad. So make a salad, add some chomps to it. It's just like bacon bits. And that way you can get their venison, you can get their grass-fed beef, you can get their jalapeno, you can get their turkey, whatever you want. And again, I put a link down below, and it's just awesome what they're doing right now. The owners, Pete and Rashid, they built the company based on clean, right? Being clean and being ethical and being humanitarian. They wanted to be able to help people get their hands on good quality meat without having to spend boatloads of money. So to be completely honest, this fits the whole vibe of everything that they're about anyway. So just use the code down below if you want to save some money on it. Salad dressing, if you have your hands on any salad dressing that does not have canola or soy, that would be beneficial. 2 tablespoons, but beggars can't be choosers. But if you have to go with soy, throw it away. Just don't use it. Just use olive oil, okay? That would be ideal. Then 2 tablespoons of chia or flax on your salad for the same reason I mentioned before. And then of course the sauerkraut like we mentioned. Option number 3, 1 can of chicken. This one's fun. This one's actually more of a recipe. You take a can of the canned chicken. Wild Planet has some. Okay, Wild Planet's a good brand for that. I think they have inventory still. I know Thrive Market ran out of inventory with a lot of things. So anyhow, 1 can of chicken. You compress that with a quarter cup of either almond flour or whatever flour you want to use, tapioca flour, arrowroot flour, coconut flour you can use. Just don't use regular flour, okay? So you're going to take that, mash it up together with that, And then you're gonna add 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, mash it up together, add spices of your choice. Highly recommend you add cayenne because the capsaicin has been shown to elevate core body temperature, and it has been shown to have a thermogenic effect in terms of metabolism. Only like 1 to 3% for like an hour, but it's better than a kick in the jaw. Make that into patties, and then you bake those suckers. Oh, there's a saw going there. Sorry, I'm just in my backyard. Let me wait for that. So then you're gonna cook it in the oven at a relatively high temperature because you just wanna get kind of that crispiness to it. Oh, there's the saw again. Okay, this is why it's nice to film in a real studio versus this, right? And then what I like to do is put it in the broiler just to get it a little bit crispy on the top. And there you have it. You can put a little bit of cheese on it, do whatever you want. But anyway, just make these patties. You can also have them cold. The flour is gonna allow them to solidify up. And then go ahead and just add some greens on the side. I just wanted to have some fun with that. Now, option number 4 with this, okay? I want you to be able to enjoy life a little bit. And I know right now, and this isn't a plug for Chipotle, but I know Chipotle is delivering. So at least if you wanted to have a little treat, get a Chipotle bowl with chicken, okay? Their chicken is fairly clean, it's just greasy. I don't want any cheese, I don't want any sour cream, but I want extra guacamole. There you go. Okay, no beans, no rice, just a keto bowl, and they'll deliver that sucker right now. So that's a nice thing to note. Whoever's editing this, I forgot to mention more of the supplements on lunch, so I'm gonna go back to that, so make sure you kind of fit this in. Okay, then so in addition to the magnesium, what I would recommend is between 2,000 and 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. Ideally, we'll be getting it through the food, but in this case, this would be supplemental, okay? Vitamin C, I cannot speak to the dose that you should take, but I will tell you what I take. I take anywhere between 5,000 to 7,000 and 10,000, sometimes up to 13,000, 15,000 milligrams of vitamin C, depending on how tired or how exhausted I am or stressed out. I personally megadose vitamin C. Okay, that's what I'm a fan of. The World Health Organization is talking about vitamin C, but they don't talk about it in megadosing. China talked about taking copious amounts of vitamin C. Personally, I like megadosing it. That is just me. I can't tell you how much to take, but I will tell you that what is generally recommended seems a bit low. Okay, then of course we talked about the magnesium, and then other things that I would recommend that you would take if you want to just improve your metabolic health during this time, 300 to 600 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 if you can get your hands on it. And then additionally, it wouldn't hurt to get some good quality fish oil that's higher DHA. When you're looking at a fish oil, get one that's higher DHA content than EPA content. Okay, so we've talked about breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but what about people that want to intermittent fast as well? I wanna make sure that I have all the information for people there as well. Okay, if you're intermittent fasting, I want you to follow an alternate day fasting approach for 20 hours. Okay, so every other day, you'll do a 20-hour fast. But here's what it's gonna look like. On your non-fasting day, I want you to eat as prescribed in the other plans, in the other days, okay? If you add carbs, if you don't do keto, go ahead and add the carbs with dinner, okay? On your fasting day, I want you to fast until, let me wait for this saw. On your fasting day, I want you to fast until 3 to 4 p.m. And I want you to break your fast with a protein shake. I don't care if it's whey or pea protein at this point. Beggars can't be choosers once again. Or 2 chopsticks, whatever you choose, not both, not one of each. Either 2 chopsticks, I don't care what flavor, or a shake. Then 1 to 2 hours later, I want you to choose from one of the lunch options from the previous meals. Okay, one of the lunch options plus the sauerkraut and kimchi that we would normally have with dinner, okay? So choose a lunch option plus sauerkraut and kimchi, but you're going to increase the quantity of the meal that you eat by 25%. So you're gonna take a lunch option, but you're gonna add 25% of what it would be on a normal day because you're gonna be so calorically deprived. I don't want you to stress your body out too much during this time. And then before bed, on your fasting day, after you've broken your fast and gone through this, I want you to have yogurt, preferably unsweetened Bulgarian yogurt, otherwise Greek yogurt, with a scoop of protein in it. I know we're getting a lot of kinds of protein in there that I wouldn't normally recommend. Protein powders, things like that. Not my normal cup of tea, but given the situation, I'd rather you have protein and stay healthy and keep your lean mass on, because I personally don't think that we're going into like a dark winter for a really long time. I feel like we might be laid up for 1 to 3 months where we can't get our hands on good stuff. So you might as well keep your muscle and stay healthy. Anyhow, I encourage you to follow this plan. Do something. It's what I'm gonna be doing. It's basically what I'm gonna be eating. So if you jump on board with me, we can have a lot of fun with this and we can make a just positive situation out of a pretty scary, negative, dark one. So let's just have a lot of fun with this and let's go ahead and jump in and comment below if you're with me and go ahead and follow me on Instagram as well and we can do this as a family. I'll see you soon.